Are the champions of Europe again.
Hello and welcome back to the One United podcast. I'm back from a little break and I'm joined as ever by Henry. Henry, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm all right. You?
I'm not bad, And we're delighted to be joined by Joe Lyons, the bloke who's a year younger than us and showing us up in uni every single week. So Joe, how are you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
It's good to have you. So obviously we're going to cover a bit of a tricky week for United. Obviously the highs of beating West Ham and AC Milan and the lows of getting absolutely outclassed by Leicester. So I'll come to you first, Henry. What are your thoughts on the Leicester game, just to start us off?
God, where do I start? Frustrating is one word, I guess, but just a bit baffled, really. Baffled at the decision making from the manager. The starting lineup was a bit weird. As soon as I saw Matic on that team sheet, you got a midfield. You've got one player in midfield then, essentially, and then Fred dropped an absolute clanger. So he was horrendous as well. So we've got a problem now where he'll keep playing Fred and McTominay because I don't know why, but they're workers, and I guess they get about 60% passing accuracy, which is good enough for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Yeah, not good enough. Not good enough. Shambles. Frustrating to watch. Made changes 65 minutes in, which made absolutely no sense because as soon as we conceded that second goal, game was done. So, he should have made changes at half-time. Again, just decision-making over and over again with this manager. It's just it's baffling, And then we're out of another competition now. And now we have the Europa League or bust this season. I know we'll probably get top four, but other than that, there's nothing to celebrate again. So we've got to win the Europa League now. So, yeah, stupid decisions, naive management, and just dreadful players. Costing us competitions, as they always do.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, I know me and you, Joe, yesterday were talking about the selection, shall we say, and then we had a few choice words. So how are you feeling? Well, how were you feeling the other day about the Fred and Matic partnership in midfield?
I think I saw a stat they only made about 8 progressive passes. It was just sideways. Didn't feel like, Fred and Matic don't bring anything attacking wise to the team. And when you don't have your best attacking player and Bruno in there, it's hard to expect the team to create that many chances. Van de Beek hasn't found his feet yet. I thought it was really strange, as Henry said, the team decision from Solskjaer. Bruno Fernandes, we're just approaching international break. I was under the assumption most managers hated the international break and would want to, play their best players. But the fact he was rested for, I'm not sure what reason, in an FA Cup quarter-final in a competition we'd love to win and we probably need to win. It was strange, but I don't think any of us want to see that Matic Fred pivot ever again. McFred works in big games. I think that's been proven, despite its inconsistencies. It's probably the one to go with. But Matic is, I think he needs to be shipped off to the, Portuguese league so he can get a wee holiday home there and finish off his career. I don't want to see him again.
Fair enough. Well, I'll just bring it back around to you then, Henry. How does it feel, knowing that we shifted our best midfielder onto the left wing to accommodate probably the worst centre mid pairing we've seen at Old Trafford for a long time?
I think if I have to see Pogba on the left again, I'm going to break my TV. He plays in the centre for France, a World Cup winning side that they are the best that there is, and he's playing centre mid for them, but we ship him out onto the left. Is his manager? Does he not have any clue what players he has? It's like, we have to accommodate Fred and McTominay or Fred and Matic instead of Pogba, who is he's twice the player that all three of them are. I'd rather have one player, and that's Pogba in midfield, than those three together. Genuinely, better player, more progressive. He actually surprisingly does win the ball back a lot. I think people will kind of miss that out. He does win the ball back a lot as well. So, you can't be in France's midfield and just stand there and receive a pass and play it forward. That's it. That's not how it works with their team. They're workers as well. They work for each other, and it's just so frustrating. And I've seen the first comment from Jamie, saying, "Oh, if Ollie doesn't win anything next season, next season's is his biggest yet." while I sort of agree with that, I'm tired of people saying next year's the biggest year, because then he won't win anything next year, and we'll go, "Oh yeah, but next year's the biggest year." We are a club in the top 3 in terms of turnover in the world, and we're saying we'll be happy with top 4 and maybe Europa League. That's embarrassing. It really is. We just sit here and accept shit. So as soon as fans get to the stage where we accept FA Cup potentially, maybe EFL Cup and Europa League, and then a top 4 finish, that's garbage. I don't think people realise how shit that is. That's awful. Why are we accepting this rubbish football? And then, next year, if he gets top 4, which he will get top 4 this year, he'll keep his job because, top 4 is the mark for the Glazers. Then as soon as that happens, he'll go into next year and we'll go, yeah, we'll be happy with top 4 again. We need to start thinking about the future and whether this is the right way to approach things. That's 4 semi-finals and 2 quarterfinals we've been knocked out in now, I think, under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. If he won't get sacked, it's not my decision. He won't get sacked at the end of the season if he gets top 4. Simple as that. If he doesn't get top 4, he's gone. So, do I want us to get top 4? Yeah, because I want to watch Champions League next year. But is this manager going to be progressive and successful and win loads of trophies? With what I saw against Leicester, absolutely not. That was a tactical shambles. He got schooled by Brendan Rodgers. People will say, oh yeah, Van der Beek co-played. They had 5 senior players missing, Leicester. 5 that would get in their starting 11 within a heartbeat. Why are we accepting this? I say it every time. Why do we accept this? James, I'll ask you, why do you accept top 4 and Europa League? That's not good enough, is it?
It's not, is it, at all? I think you summed it up perfectly. We need to be aiming higher, and what we can do to stop City is a different matter. But I think just in terms of even the competitions we're competing in isn't quite good enough. But I'll bring it back around. Well, we've got a comment saying FFP will change, and we'll cover that later because it is an interesting talking point. But I want to get your opinion on it, Joe. Do you think that Ollie is the man to lead us to titles and stuff like that? Because I've not really had your opinion on it before.
Yeah, I think despite the disappointing result on Sunday, there's always you have to look at the progression that's been made this season. Obviously, we're not at the level we want to be in the cup competitions, but in the league, we're second best right now, and I think that's all you could really ask from the team. No one's catching City; they're the best team in the world by a country mile. And I think it's also important to remember that Leicester are, third. They're only a point behind us, and again, Brendan Rodgers isn't that bad of a manager. I think he's pretty good. So, despite it being, a trophy we would want to win, I think, if we set our sights mainly on the Europa League now, start to move forward and just forget about it. I think that's the best case scenario for the team. But I'm not in favour of hiring, firing, and reshuffling managers anymore. We went through it, Moyes, Van Gaal, Mourinho. It didn't work clearly. It's obviously an issue that's deep at the root of the club. Because if we can't turn, one of the best managers in history, Mourinho, into, a Premier League title or stuff like that, he only won a EFL Cup, Europa League, and a Community Shield with us. So I think that says more about the people at the top than the guy in the hot seat. So I think Solskjaer, he's making progression. I think he is the right man for the job, and I back him the whole way. He started his squad, getting some players out, getting the players that he wants in. I think there was a report from ESPN last summer saying that he didn't get a single one of his transfer targets. He had Sancho on there, he had Grealish, and he didn't get any of them. So at the end of the day, it's up to the board to go out there, get the targets that he wants if we want to move forward.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it poses the question I'll ask you, Henry. Can, even if we got rid of Ole, could any manager succeed under this board realistically?
Well, it's interesting that you say we've made massive progression. If we drop 3 more points this season, we will not reach Mourinho's points tally of 17-18. Won't get there. So we've gone from Mourinho, who was, slated for his defensive football, and, it was a terrorist ball, as a lot of people called it. It's horrendous football to watch, whatever. Won a Europa League, got an EFL Cup, and, finished second. And it looks like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is not going to reach that points total after 2 seasons at United. That side that Mourinho had is not as good as the side that we've got now. So do I think that we've made massive progression? Looking at it, not really. We're going to go from winning trophies and getting a higher points total to getting less points and not winning anything, or maybe winning Europa League. Still might win it. I don't know, but we've got the structure in the club. Fair enough. John Murta, new football director, and I genuinely though. I know Solskjaer didn't get his main targets, but he's done what the Glazers wanted, which is cut the wage bill by 2 million per week by getting rid of the likes of Lukaku and big money players. And we're in a situation now where we haven't made massive progression on the pitch. We haven't. We brought through a few youth players, but in terms of actual success, no, we've done next to nothing. So people will say, Ollie, keep giving him time, but how much time do you give him? Would Man City stand for this? Would they stand for not winning trophies and finishing top 4? And would Ole Gunnar Solskjaer be in a job at that club? Lampard, for example, got sacked by Chelsea after over 6 months in his second season because he wasn't good enough. Brought in a new manager. They're back up the table and they could finish above us. So we've gone from progressing off. We're progressing off the pitch, but not on it. I genuinely don't see it. We're not getting the points total, and the points total is the thing that counts the most. Getting second place is fine, but Liverpool and Chelsea have fallen off. I said to you before the podcast, James, they'll come up next season. They'll be back up there, and we could end up finishing 4th, 5th. So other sides will spend. We've got to spend, but I don't know whether I trust the manager. I really don't, because we've lost another cup game, a knockout game. And it's naivety every time. Naivety in his decision-making. It's either 75 minutes, he makes a change, or he waits for us to concede another goal, and then he makes a change. If he'd have done that at half-time, I wouldn't be slating him this much, but he didn't. So naivety yet again, and we can't keep standing for this.
I think it's worth putting into context. You say, would City stand for this? Would Chelsea stand for this? I don't think City or Chelsea would ever allow themselves to get into a position like our club was in when Solskjaer took over. This was like a whole club in disarray from top to bottom. The team,
Chelsea did under Antonio Conte. They finished. They were.
I don't think they would.
And then they changed.
I think in terms of harmony and everything, though, they were nowhere near the levels that United were. I don't think anyone under that squad that Mourinho left wanted to be at United anymore. There was even rumours of Rashford leaving, and he's I'll say bleeds red. Everyone bleeds red, but you know what I mean. He's United through and through, isn't he? So I think it's worth putting these things into context, and I can see the progression that Ollie's making. I think, especially you compare him to that first season that Mourinho left and Ollie took over. What a bad league position we were in then. I think we've progressed every single season, and that's all you can ask for, really. I think as long as we continue to progress, as soon as we see any sort of lack of progression, as soon as we start to go backwards a little bit, that's when you question, right, have we got the right man in the job? Because his job at the minute is to just keep progressing us until we're at that level, because it's not going to be an overnight fix, is it? But I think as soon as
Champions League, we got in the Champions League, right, and then got knocked out in the group stage. That to me isn't progression. We've gone from, and then we've gone to, yeah, we'll accept the Europa League. Yeah, we'll accept the FA Cup. What happened to the Champions League? Başakşehir, I'm pretty sure they're like 13th in their league. They're in a relegation battle in the Turkish league, and we got beaten by them. So people need to remember what happened like 3 or 4 months ago, where, well, there you go. A manager doesn't play his best player in a quarterfinal. I know you've got to rotate, but you don't rotate half the squad. You rotate 1 or 2 players. You don't just go, right, new team, play together, see whether you can win in a quarterfinal. You don't do that. No manager does that. Even Guardiola doesn't do that. He changes 2 or 3 players. So, I don't know. I'm frustrated, and I hope we win the Europa League, but I'm in a situation now where we've gone from second and 81 points to second and probably not getting 81 points. I still think Chelsea will finish above us.
Yeah, fair enough. I think the 81 points is a bit of a false stat, because I genuinely think Mourinho set us back a few years in that last half season that he had. But just to round us off for this little bit, Emery, I need a one-word answer. Are you creeping towards Ollie out?
I can't give you a one-word answer. Half and half. I support the team as much as I can, and if he does well, then good. But getting knocked out in another cup isn't great, is it?
Yeah, fair enough. Well, I'll bring it back round to the midfield pairing, because obviously it got outclassed by Ndidi and Tielemans. So I'll come to you, Joe. I'm not really sure on your opinions of who you want to bring in for this one solid defensive midfielder role that we need, but has it swung you in any sort of favour between Rice and Ndidi? And if it's not one of those two, then who do you think it should be?
I've always been a huge fan of Rice for a very long time, but the thing that comes with him is the English tax. I think we'd have to pay upwards of 80 million if we wanted to bring in Rice, but I think that's the player we need, in that wee pocket just above the defence to provide some stability there. It's not what we get with Fred. We tried to play Fred as a defensive midfielder. He's not. He's box to box. He was constantly getting exposed. We saw that against Leicester as well. So that's 100%. I think that should be the biggest priority in the transfer window, alongside a centre back. I'm not sure right wing is as much of a problem as some people make out, because I know we can have Greenwood there, and although he hasn't been firing to the best of his ability this season, we know what he can do, and he'll be back to that form in no time. But CDM's definitely the position I would go for. Indeed, he's a class player, but I'm not sure if we've just taken Maguire off Leicester. We could, potentially even go in for Madison, or I don't know who else. They've got a lot of good young players we'd love to take from them. So I don't know if they'd want to do business with us again. But West Ham, Declan Rice is exactly the player I'd go for. Might be hard to negotiate with them thanks to, Moyes and stuff, but pay the money and get him in. He's exactly the man we need.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, the thing is, I've been doing a bit of research on Rice, watching a few videos, and I think that the thing with Rice is, with his Premier League pedigree, it's almost impossible for him to fail at Old Trafford. But he's very much statistically he's a good player, but he doesn't excel in anything really. I think if you're looking for a defensive midfielder who's going to stop the ball getting to the back four, you go for Ndidi. If you're looking for a distributor, you go for someone like Manuel Locatelli in Italy. But Henry, who do you think, having watched how well Ndidi has played all season, are you between Rice and Ndidi, who do you think you're going for?
Well, I think the problem with again, the problem with Premier League players is, I know we say English tax, but they have a United tax as well, where they add an extra 20 million on if we want a deal. So, especially from Premier League clubs. So I would go for someone that's a bit. I know Zakaria's not having a great season that much in Gladbach, but their manager seems to have just given up. It's like, meh, is what it is. Don't want to win any games. I'm going to Dortmund anyway. So, someone of that kind of stature, a ball winner, but who's strong, because I can't have another Fred who just gets bullied off the ball. And realistically, Rice, I don't see us getting him because, again, too much money. I think Chelsea might get him, to be honest. I think Chelsea might go for him. I know they've got a lot of CDMs, and Kovacic is trusted, as is Jorginho, but Jorginho's weak and he gets robbed easily. So I think Chelsea will go for another CDM. But yeah, I go for Bundesliga. Seems to be a good league to bring in players from, because it's an underrated league. It really is. The quality there is high, and you're reliant on strength as well. Whereas the Spanish league, you're not reliant on strength, and the Italian league is an utter disaster right now. There's no other way of putting it. There, it's an absolute, it's a shit league this year. It really is. But we need a centre back as well. And watching Maguire, people criticise Fred, right? I don't know what you guys think, but whose fault that goal was. but I think it was 2 players. Why on earth is Maguire playing a pass into a CDM who's marked by 3 players? Why? Why do you have to play that ball out from the back in the first place? We don't play well out from the back, and when we get pressed, we struggle. We give the ball away. So if they've got 5 players around your box, just play it long. You've got Pogba on the left, or you've got just hit someone, a big guy, and hold the ball up. So we've got an issue in the sense that we need a centre back, a CDM, we need a backup right back, we need a right winger. And I know for a fact that the Glazers are not going to spend all the money on all of those players. It's not going to happen. So you've got to pick the 2 most important ones. And at the moment, that's a centre back and a central defensive midfielder. So priorities.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, I'll just bring it back to the game then, just to quickly round us off. I'll come to you first, Joe. Do you think the game has sort of showed us, especially over the course of the season, that had Leicester not had such immense injury problems, they could have probably been above us, and I think this second position wouldn't have been as secure as it possibly is right now?
Definitely, yeah. Should have been without Ricardo Pereira for most of the season. He was one of the league's best right backs last year. So I think at a fully fit, fully strength squad, they trounce us. They've been unlucky this season with injuries. Maddison has been backfiring. I think we were very flattered by the scoreline on Sunday, only being 3-1. I think Iheanacho has shown something that we haven't even seen since his days at Man City. He looks like a completely new player there alongside Vardy up top. So, and they were without Harvey Barnes as well. Can't remember who else, but it was I think we were humbled in defeat. We know what we have to do now and go forward, but I don't think there was any shame losing to that Leicester side, despite the horrible tactics, this selection. They were the better side. They deserved to win on the day. And if one thing went differently this season, they're above us and potentially even chasing City for the title if they stayed healthy. So they're a great side, great manager, completely underrated, and a dark horse usually, and they will be next season if they challenge for the league again.
Yeah, can't agree more. Now I'll come back to you, Henry. Just got a question in the comments saying, do you think the Grealish interest is still there? Now I think, in my opinion, if goal line technology hadn't messed up last season, I think Grealish would be a United player because Villa would have been in the Championship. But in my opinion, he's on the ball one of the best players in the league, if not Europe. I think he's just incredible to watch. Jack Grealish is. But how do you feel about him?
Well, it's Grealish or Sancho, and you've got a problem because you've got to pick one of the two. You can't have both. Both of them aren't going to come to United, and because one's not going to think, "Oh yeah, I'd be happy on the bench." So you got to pick one of the two, and we lean towards Sancho because he's a right winger. So yeah, the Grealish, the interest might be there, but as far as I see it at the moment, the deal's dead. I don't see it happening at all. I think he's Villa through and through, and I think that maybe in a couple of years' time he might reconsider and leave because they're not a trophy-winning side, but he's captaining his boyhood club right now. It all adds up to him not leaving this year because they'll improve. They'll get better players in. They've been better this year. They've been competing with the top 6. So I think. I think it's dead. I really do, and it's sad to see. But at the same time, we have other positions we need to focus on. That's not the priority.
Yeah, fair enough. I'll come to you then, Joe. Do you think Grealish is still a target for United, or do you think that 5-year contract he signed last year was just blowing the deal out of the water?
I think he's definitely still a target. He was the man all he wanted last year, and he never got. It's gonna, I don't think we're going to be able to afford him this summer. Obviously, with the effects of COVID. It's affected clubs massively. We're not going to have a blank checkbook to work with. I think there'll be maybe one marquee signing, and I can see that being Sancho, nobody else. Grealish is an attacking midfielder / left winger. I'm not sure that's exactly the position we need to fill at the minute. I think the interest is definitely there. I mean, who wouldn't be interested in a player like Grealish? He's one of the best, as you said, one of the best on the ball players in the league. He is, unbelievable every time you watch him. But I think the club should be prioritising a right winger if they are to go down that attacking department, because we've already, that left side's a bit overloaded now. We have Rashford, Martial who can play there. We've got Ahmad coming in. So it's Sancho all the way for me, to be honest.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Can't agree. I think you get Sancho or Grealish, you're laughing, aren't you? Really? And has anyone got any other comments about the game or anything before we
wanted to
move on?
mention something ever so quickly about that Leicester game, and just to put it into context for everyone, because I like doing that sometimes. Leicester changed formation. We're missing 5 players. They didn't have any creative attacking midfielders, and they still beat us 3-1. So for people going, oh, it's just a one-off game, whatever. If Leicester didn't have the injuries, if Chelsea didn't have a shit manager, and if Liverpool didn't have their injuries, we'd be 5th right now, probably. So just thought I'd mention that because we haven't been anywhere near as consistent as people make out this year.
Fair enough. Just a quick question then. I'm assuming everyone will have the same answer as me, but how realistic do you rate a chance of signing Haaland this summer? I'm going to kick the ball off by saying just absolutely zero. Why would he want to come to United? When City, PSG, Real Madrid are all on the table, the only reason you come to United is for money, and I think we've gone past that idea of paying players big wages just to get them in. So I don't know if anyone else wants to take the floor.
We're the same as Dortmund.
I'm sorry, I'll let you go, Henry.
We're the same as Dortmund, aren't we? We're a progressive team. We're rebuilding. So he's going to want to go from a team that's rebuilding to a team that's rebuilding. Not going to happen.
Yeah,
it could be the relationship with Solskjaer, maybe that will tilt him towards Old Trafford. He worked with him at Molde. I don't know if that's something that he desires at the minute, but I can see him staying at Dortmund for another year. He's he's becoming one of the best strikers in the world there. He's clearly loving his football. I think in a big move like this to City or United or Barcelona, Real Madrid, I think this would be a bit early in his career for him. I think for his own development personally, if he stays at Dortmund for another year and then sees what happens after that, I think that's the best move for him. Obviously, it's the dream move this summer. He's exactly the player we need. He is, a similar play style to Cavani, just a lot younger. So we've seen how well Cavani's worked for us this season. But at the minute, very few clubs would have the 150 million to pry him away from Dortmund.
PSG.
Yeah.
PSG.
Possibly. I don't even know about PSG.
If it's PSG with Neymar, Mbappe, and Haaland, I think every club should just liquidate in the rest of the world.
There's no point having any other football clubs, is there?
No. Just
give them everything. Give them
just
every league title, Champions League, whatever.
Forget football. Just forget the lot. Pointless.
Rename it PSG.
Yeah, well, who knows?
Anyway, moving on. There's news coming out today. It's not confirmed or anything. It's just rumours at the minute that there will be an FFP rule change. They're looking to get rid of FFP, and it'll basically be a move that gives clubs a lot more financial freedom. So basically, just going back to how times were before FFP. Now, I want to get your guys' opinion because obviously United are a rich club. We do, as much as we like to complain about the owners, we do spend a lot of money. So I'll come to you first, Henry. How do you think, if this rule is taken away, if FFP is taken away, how do you think that's going to affect football in the long term?
Well, Sugar Daddy Sheikh has already got away with breaking the rules in FFP. Lying about his club's income and just had to pay a fine and wasn't found guilty. So it doesn't make a difference. Clubs will just, if they really want to break the FFP rules, they'll just pay a fine and they'll go, the UEFA or whoever takes complete control will say, I'll stick it in my pocket then. Why not? They do that anyway. Football, in that sense, you can see it's borderline corrupt because City did break. So the statement was that City did break the rules, but they weren't going to kick them out of UEFA competitions. So basically, they broke the rules, but they paid them off. So, it's going to go from them spending money and having to pay a fine to spending that on a player. If they get rid of FFP or if it's, clubs have more financial freedom or whatever, we will be in the mud. Seriously, we're in trouble because clubs, Chelsea, Roman Abramovich he'll give Thomas Tuchel, 400 million go spend this summer. There you go buy Haaland, go buy Rice, go and buy half the Premier League and the best players in the world because they'll do that. And the Glazers will go, hold on a sec, what about my dividend check? Come on, Where's my dividend going to come from if I'm going to go spend that money on Haaland? So we'll be in the wilderness. If we can't compete financially with those clubs, which will be the case, we'll be in the wilderness. So, I mean, I don't like it, but it was going to happen at some point, wasn't it? FFP is just a load of shit anyway. It doesn't really do much, It's all this based on income, how much you can spend. And it's just, if you're just paying someone off anyway, it doesn't make a difference, does it? So, yeah, we'll be in the wilderness, though. See what happens.
Yeah, fair enough. Joe, what are your thoughts on it? So obviously, it was a rule that wasn't too strictly implemented, but now that it's potentially going all together, do you think this is just going to create an even bigger divide between teams in football?
Well, it's pretty apparent in football at the minute that with the right amount of money, you can, almost cover anything up or do whatever you want. So, it's obviously going to be a huge boost for the oil-rich clubs. Your cities, your PSGs won't so much have an effect on us unless we actually start to get some work done in the transfer market, which we haven't done in a long time. So at the minute, it doesn't mean anything for United. It really doesn't, because we only ever really buy one marquee player a summer, if even that. Do you remember that summer we signed Fred, Lee Grant, and Dalot? If we have another one of those this year, I can see myself toppling over the edge. So I'm not sure it's going to affect us, but between clubs, it's going to have a fairly detrimental impact. There's going to be very sour relations, because you can, with it, City, PSG will be able to use whatever money they have to get whatever player they want, and I'm sure the parent club won't have much say in that. So, but it's a dog eat dog world in football. I doubt the big clubs care about what their relationships are with others, but it's disappointing to see how easily the game is fading away from academy football, nurturing players and bringing them up to, just taking any old player from the other side of the world. And if you've got the most money, you're going to win. So I would rather it be based talent-wise. I think we all would, but I think maybe I'm just saying that because the Glazers don't want to spend anything. I'm sure if I was a City fan, I'd absolutely love it.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, just final point then, Henry. Obviously, when you combine this with the idea that a Super League is looking more and more inevitable as time goes on, do you think things like this are slowly just going to create the downfall of football as a sport?
The downfall of football as a sport started when Qatar got the World Cup. As soon as that happened, fucked. Football's done. Because as soon as that happens, you realise not a footballing nation, oil rich, got loads of money, paid off FIFA officials, and it becomes almost simple. It's that easy to do it. You just pay off people. So as soon as that happened, you just realised how bad the problems were, and the problems aren't gonna, they're not gonna stop. They're gonna keep mounting up, and the European Super League, it will happen at some point because all people want is money. So if more clubs can pay more money to be in this Super League, then it will happen. And if that does happen, that's the demise of football. Genuinely, if that happens, football's done. It's just had it completely. We've gone from enjoying watching our teams to having to we'll have to travel worldwide on a weekly basis to play these clubs because they've got a load of money. So, yeah, I think if that does happen, it's done.
Yeah, fair enough. I can't disagree with you at all. And then just one final question to see us out, because I know we're all three of us have got things that we need to do soon. So, got a comment saying, I feel Milenkovic will be the centre back this summer, cheap and can play right back. Who do you think it'll be? Well, Henry, do you want to get us kicked off? Who do you think if we do sign a centre back, who do you think it'll be?
Now, how funny this is. We've gone from Koundé for 60 million or 70 million, looking at Koundé or Koulibaly or the top players to Milenkovic because he's cheap. Genuinely, and we're sitting there going, yeah, Milenkovic, yeah, cheap and, save the Glazers a bit of money. And it's just like, I'm not disagreeing with the comment at all. I'm not disagreeing with the comment because it's realistic. But it shows the demise, doesn't it? We've gone from Koundé, one of the top centre-backs in Europe, to Milenkovic because he'll cost us like 40 million less. So, and he can play at right back as well. So we're literally, oh man, I fucking give up with this club sometimes. I really do. Sometimes I just wonder what's the point anymore, because we're just going to go and buy Milenkovic and we're going to go buy a bum CDM that's, been a journeyman. You mentioned Locatelli there. Prime example. It'll cost us like 15 million, but he's just nowhere near on the level that we need. So I think we've now gone from here to here in the space of about 3 months, because we're accepting what the Glazers are going to do, which is spend as little money as possible this summer to get the best positions. So I think it's funny. I really do. So predictable.
Fair enough. So who do you go on? If we take the Glazers out of the equation, who do you think United would sign as a centre back?
I think we'd sign Koundé because he fits perfectly. Maguire's on the left side, and I know people want a left-sided centre half and whatever, and that's fine. But I think Maguire's done okay in the left channel. He's been more progressive than he was last year. So I think Koundé would be the perfect fit in terms of size. He's got a massive jump as well. He's good on the ball. He's the kind of player that we want. And then you've got to go for someone like Declan Rice. Someone who knows the players in the team well enough and is a talented CDM. Or you go for Kante, or you go for these top players and you just pay the money. But as you said, it's all hypothetical, because that's without these shitty owners who don't want to spend any money. So, it would be a fantastic world if the Glazers didn't own Manchester United. I can tell you that. But they do. And they want to save money, and they want to big up their dividends check as much as they can. So we might as well just accept that we're going to get given shit this summer. And we'll go, Milenkovic will be the new Lindelof, and everyone will go, oh, he's crap within a year. He's crap. He's not good enough. He can't handle it. He can't hack it at United. It's a vicious cycle. It happens every year, and it's just predictable. So there you go.
Yeah, fair enough. Joe, who do you think if we do sign a centre-back, who do you think it'll be?
I know the upcoming generation of Spanish defenders is a bit dodgy, but Pau Torres would be my choice from Villarreal. I've really enjoyed watching him this season. And I know Maguire's been pretty good at the left side of centre-back, but we can move him to the right because Pau Torres is left-footed, and I think I watched your video as well about the importance of a left-footed centre-back. It's really, really, really vital, especially in a challenging team. Most of the top teams would have one. So I would love to see Torres. I think he's about 60 million, and he's doing really well. I was saying that comment about Tyrone Mings. If that happens, I'm gone. That's the end for me, I think. Other one, Benoit Badiashile, I think, from Monaco. He's only is he 20, 21?
Yeah, but they ship goals for fun, mate. I'm telling you.
Yeah,
they ship goals.
Yeah, they leak it. And Koundé obviously is one of the biggest targets at the minute. Andy Mitten said as well he's been scouted by the club, so it's another one to look at. We're spoiled for choice, to be honest, but the one I don't want to see is Milenkovic. I hadn't even heard of his name before the rumours came out. I didn't know who he was. Look, stinks to me like another Lindelof, to be honest.
He plays for a side that's like 14th in Serie A, so
yeah, I'm not having that.
I think that's enough of an explanation for everyone, isn't it?
He doesn't look awfully quick. He doesn't look awfully strong. He's just a glorified Lindelof here, and we can see how well that
Fred at centre
partnership's working. Yep, exactly. It's so backwards.
He's using us as stocking horse Varane.
Exactly.
Simple as that.
If Football Index was still here, his stocks would be up, and that's the only thing he would be turning up.
Have I just seen a comment that said Harry Kane for 120 million?
Give us Haaland instead. Pay the extra 30.
I think the Glazer family would dig each other's graves before they spent 120 million on Harry Kane. James, your mic's muted, mate.
Always happens. I think it's worth noting that Kane is a complete coward and will never leave Spurs because he's very comfortable at the minute. So you got
scrappy penalties against Villa.
Yeah, there you go. So you've got to take that into consideration. But bringing it back to the centre backs, I'm in agreement with Joe. I think if you get Pau Torres in, a left-footed progressive passer, that the left-hand side of United's team when firing on all cylinders. When Rashford's not carrying 3 different injuries at once, I think that left-hand side is our most dangerous part of the pitch. I think you add a left footer a left-footed centre back to that side, and it can really complete it. I think we're going to be really dangerous. But then you go back from that, it's got to be Koundé, isn't it? So it's proven talent already at such a young age. Yes, he's going to be expensive, but you pay for quality. You get someone like Milenkovic in, it's just who is Milenkovic? What is a Milenkovic? Do you know what I mean? It's just pointless.
James, you mentioned Pau Torres there. The only concern that I have of him is that he hasn't got that much pace. You know, he's not the quick centre half that you want alongside Maguire. You know, he's not as quick as Koundé. We all know that. And you know, you want, like, Chelsea have got Rudiger, haven't they? Bit of pace. You know, you've got Stones or Diaz at City, who have both. I mean, Stones has got a fair bit of pace when he gets going. Same with Diaz. That you want someone who's a bit quicker, because Maguire, he moves like a tree at times. So you know, he's just very, very slow. So we need someone who's quick alongside him, and the concern will be that we'll just replace Lindelof with someone who's left-footed instead of, you know, all the attributes we need, I guess.
Yeah, fair enough.
What about a fully fit Eric Bailly?
Yeah, it's just
his legs on bamboo sticks. He would be the perfect choice.
A fully fit Eric Bailly slots right into the team for the 2 or 3 games he's available.
As well.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I think any signing we make this season that isn't Milenkovic in terms of centre backs realistically is going to be an upgrade. I think that's hard to deny. I don't in any way discredit Lindelof. I think when he's not next to Maguire, he's a really, really good defender, but they just really cancel each other out. They're both trying to be the same they're both the same player really, apart from Maguire's a bit heavier and a bit slower. But got a comment saying, what about Ben Godfrey? I think we were talking about this the other day, Henry, weren't we? That I think he could have been an outside shout for England. I think he's very raw. He's by no means, you know, one of the best defenders in the league, but still, he's already Premier League quality. He's very young. It's just that English tax, and realistically, Everton. Yeah, he is quick.
He's quick. I don't care about anything else. You get me Usain fucking Bolt in centre half. I don't care. Get someone who's quick, not someone who's slow. If I have to see another slow centre half next to Maguire, oh my God, I'm finding the nearest bridge and I'm throwing myself off it, because I seriously cannot. I could not handle that. Because, yeah, got to have slow and quick, not slow and slow. So Ben Godfrey, fair shout. Yeah, fair shout. But he's got to be quick.
How do you feel about that shout, Henry?
To be fair, that's not a terrible shout. The only problem I have with Konsa is that I know Villa are pretty defensively sound, but he does have a mistake in him. And this year, he's made a couple of little errors. And I just don't think he's the pedigree that we're looking for in terms of, I mean, I saw the Tyrone Mings comment as well. If we get Tyrone Mings, I'm done, absolutely done. Konsa's better than Mings. You know, I think that's common knowledge by now. But yeah, I think you've got to be looking higher in terms of pedigree. You know, Godfrey might be a shout, but again, you want European experience as well, don't you? Koundé's got European experience. I mean, Milenkovic probably hasn't even he's barely got Serie A experience, so I don't think that'd be a good idea. But yeah, you want someone who's got experience at the top. Pau Torres has been with Villarreal in Europe, you know, for the last couple of years. So yeah, again, it all comes down to money, doesn't it? Every time we're gonna get some bum on a free, aren't we? we're gonna go and sign, like, you know,
Thiago Silva if he doesn't renew his contract at Chelsea or something.
Yeah, or like Teofil Katarin from Zagreb, because he played one good game against Spurs. We'll go and sign him. So
I think the Glazers would really like James Tarkowski. To be fair, I think he'd be a proper Brexit signing for him.
Fits the bill.
50 million for him. Glazers sorted. We've got our marquee signing. Happy days.
Yep.
Burnley sorted for the next 30 years as well.
And did you see the report as well? Maguire wants that English-speaking centre back alongside him.
Yeah,
it was from Duncan Castle, so give or take the reliability, but
he doesn't come across as the brightest guy, Harry Maguire. So in terms of multilingual, I'm not sure he's there yet.
Yeah. I think it's very brave of someone of Harry Maguire's stature within the game to be making demands about who United sign more than anything. I think that's ludicrous.
I mean, it sounds like someone needs to like tell him where to pass the ball, and he should not be, telling people what to do. Ben White again, good shout.
Torn
but
about by Rashford.
What was that? Sorry,
Rashford sat him down.
Yeah. Well, Ben White's a good player, but I don't think he's ready for the top yet. I know Liverpool were looking at him, but they went and bought a Championship player and a Bundesliga player. But yeah, I mean, I think he's a bit too raw. But maybe in a couple of years' time. But we need a now solution. And so, guys, welcome Milenkovic. Welcome to United. Might as well just do that now. Might as well do the announcement right now.
Yeah, fair enough. I think you've hit the nail on the head there about Ben White. I'm a massive fan of his, and I think he will be England's centre back in the years to come. But right now, he's not at the level we need.
Too raw. So, he's too raw.
Yeah. So just to end us off, because we are running out of time. Chances of Pogba's new deal feel it's time for him to move on and cash in. I think this summer it has to be decided, because there's no way we can let him go on a free. I don't know. Yeah. What do you guys think?
Well, we didn't have Pogba for like a couple of months, and we looked fucking garbage for a couple of months. So, with him back in the side, I mean, I've never liked his agent, and I made that clear. But I know you guys have. Maybe Joe hasn't, but I know James. I know you've been a bit kind of last year. You're like, oh, just flog him, get rid of him. I've always said, keep him, because he is one of the best players in the world. I think it's by now it's got to the stage where this kind of last couple of months has proven that that's common knowledge now, that he is one of the best centre mids in the world, and he is the box to box midfielder that we need alongside a DM. So we should keep him. We should really go all out to keep him. Seriously, I guess it would feel like a signing to me, to be honest, because if we can have him consistently playing, people blame him for injuries and stuff. He's a big guy. If he gets an injury, you can't rush him back. We couldn't bring him back with a hamstring tweak because it would go again. He's a big guy, and the bigger guys take longer to heal in terms of muscle injuries. So, but keep him. It should be a priority, an absolute priority. And if he goes, we're going to have CDM and box to box for the next few years, and that's going to be, average CDM and then McTominay. So. Pogba or McTominay, that's your decision, guys. And if you want Pogba to leave and prefer McTominay, I suggest you go and get your head checked, because you've got some serious problems there. But yeah, keep him. Priorities. He's got to be signed again. Give him big money, but also give him assurances that we're going to sign a couple of half reasonable players. And because he'll want assurances, he wants to win trophies. And I can't blame him for trying to pry for a move before, because it's his career. I know people say no player's bigger than Manchester United or whatever. It's his career, and he wants to go and win trophies. He doesn't want to sit in fourth position every year and get Champions League. So we've got to give him assurances that we're going to go and buy the players. The worry is that he's not going to sign the deal and that we will have to sell him. But if it were my decision, I'd sign him in a heartbeat again. I'd get him done, tied down to another 4-year deal. Straight away.
Yeah, fair enough. Joe, just quickly, what are you thinking of Pogba?
I think as Henry said, if he adds that consistency to his game, there's no looking past him. He's one of the best midfielders in the world. But can we get that consistency? I don't think so. We haven't seen it at all over his United career so far. He was one of the biggest factors in why we went top of the league for a while in January. And, fair play to him. He carried us on his back there for a bit, but it's definitely time to cash in, I think. And to be honest, I think McTominay, that role in the midfield is the way to go for United at the minute. I don't think persisting with Pogba and trying to, build a team around him continuously is the way to go. I think we've tried that. It hasn't worked. I think there's time to move on to new things, get our 100 million or wherever, and improve in the transfer market.
Can I just mention something ever so quickly? The way I see it is, if you put good players around him, he will be a better player, right? We have given him for the last 2 or 3 years, apart from the Zlatan season, which he had a really good season because he was assisting, he was scoring goals because he had better players around him. Other than that, he's been given fucking dross in that United team. He's been playing with Pereira. You know, he's been playing with Fred. These really average players. Why does he go and shine when he's with France and not with United? I think the problem with that is it's clearly us that's the problem, not him. You know, he's a good player, but how can he, you know, he's got Bruno around him now, and he's got Rashford, and he's got Martial. He's got good players around him, and he starts to shine. I don't think that's a coincidence. I think that is, we've got a better team around him, and he plays better. So, you know, cashing in and getting rid of him, I think in 2 or 3 years' time, what will happen is if we're still in the same situation in 2 or 3 years' time and he's gone, we'll go, oh, why did we let him go? Yeah, we're a very hindsight club. It's, oh, why do we do this? Why do we do that? Why don't we just get him signed a new deal? If you have better players around him, he will be a better player and he'll perform better. He won the World Cup with France. He's not a terrible player, you know, and he's been consistent with good players. So inconsistent with bad players, I don't think is a negative thing. I just think the players around him are dross, and they're not anymore. So give him a good team and he'll flourish, and he's proven that over this year.
Fair enough. Well, we do really have to go, running out of time now. So massive thank you, Joe, for joining us. You've been brilliant.
Thank you very much, lads.
And if you haven't already, check out Joe on Twitter if you want early United lineups. That's all I can say, really. Yeah, in the know Joe. That's how he's known. But Henry, as usual, massive thanks for joining us.
Yeah,
and to everyone who's been watching and contributing, a massive thank you. If you have enjoyed, be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll hopefully see you same time next week.
Manchester United are the champions of Europe again.